Airbnb just launched their new 2025 summer update, and it has gotten more attention than I remember for any other Airbnb update. Many people are complaining how they are prioritizing the wrong things and neglecting the big problems. I believe that in order to understand the new Airbnb update and the critical comments, we need to zoom out and understand the larger story. This is my analysis of the new Airbnb 2025 summer update. Before I go into existential crisis over this new update, let's first get out of the way what is actually new. Brian Chesky, the CEO of Airbnb, did a whole Apple-style presentation of the new design. He talks a lot about how Apple under Steve Jobs is a big inspiration in how he wants to design and run his company, and I think this keynote is a great example of this. Unlike many CEOs, you cannot criticize him for not having a clear vision. In the keynote, he presents a clear point of view, which is that Airbnb does not have many of the services that you would see in a hotel. And from today, that has changed. Because you can now book a personal trainer, chef, or hairstylist right from Airbnb. You can agree or disagree with his vision, but you must give the man credit for actually taking chances and presenting a point of view and sticking to it. The next big thing they announced is a new skeumorphic design. This has been on its way for a long time, but they are really leaning into it this time around. When clicking around in the UI, you will see these 3D semi-realistic looking icons, which even has subtle animations when you click around. I see some people talking about how this will take some getting used to, but I'm honestly not mad about it. Because over the past few years, we have seen a trend around companies making apps more and more similar looking. If we go back to what the web looked like back in the 90s and early 2000s, it was shockingly diverse. Websites actually had their own look and feel. But people started getting obsessed with A/B testing everything so that everything was optimized. And when making a new app or website, we saw more and more frameworks making it easy for you to launch your app quickly. And I went to business school, I understand that you want to launch quickly, test and iterate. But it all came with a cost. Because somewhere in the last 25 years, we lost something important. We lost the personal touch and the small details that make you feel like you are interacting with something beautiful. Instead, we have the situations where all websites look the same, and I think it will only get worse. Because we have all decided that learning the craft of coding doesn't even matter anymore. You can just ask an AI to create it for you, and you know what? You can do that. But your website is going to look just as beautiful and optimized as any other of the million other websites out there. No personality whatsoever. And to be honest, I'm as guilty as anyone here. I'm sure I respond better to these optimized websites that do not make me think. And I'm definitely guilty of using these streamlined apps. But one of the things that made me and others fall in love with technology is the opportunity to personalize things, tweaking the small stuff that makes just a little difference. Like customizing your bootloader or lock screen. It takes a little bit of work, but just makes the technology so much more satisfying to use. And that is why I actually like the new skeumorphic design from Airbnb. It has personality. I can actually feel the fact that someone spent hours on crafting these subtle animations, and I can actually feel that their CEO is a designer himself. He clearly prioritizes the craft, and I love that. But there's one thing that I definitely do not love about the new redesign. My third YouTube video ever was about Airbnb categories. It was a feature that was introduced in the summer 2022 update. I think it was a great solution to a problem, and the problem was, if you want to go on vacation but wanted to explore some fun and unique ideas, and you didn't know exactly where you wanted to go, what should you do? Airbnb categories was an answer to that. You could click around and see all of these amazing and interesting homes that you would have never searched for. And if you did know where to go, you could just ignore the categories and search for a place like normally. But for some reason, they decided to ditch this unique approach and instead use these standard looking product sections. Out with the unique solution and in with the same old optimized solution that all other companies use. But not only that, they have these three main sections that you can pick between on your home screen: homes, experiences and services. And if you go to design school, the first thing you will learn is to show the user what they are most likely to want. And sorry to say, if I go to Airbnb, I'm probably interested in finding a place to stay. and I'm probably not interested in getting a chance to win a taste of Sabrina Carpenter or whatever this is.
These are quite literally some of the best experiences in the world, and they're only on Airbnb.
I get that they are showing this because they want to showcase their new features, but it just feels like such a big step backwards. And if you go to Twitter, which I will not recommend by the way, you'll see many comments about this whole update. And one sentiment that seems to be shared by many is that it is outrageous that Airbnb would prioritize me getting a taste of Sabrina Carpenter rather than solving the biggest issues that people have. For example, there are many stories of normal people like you and me who experiences hosts that are just outright ridiculous. For example, there's this lady that were told that there would not be any hot water at the stay, but they could not get a compensation for this since hot water was not listed as an included amenity at the time of booking. And to add to that, it seems like people are taking ridiculous cleaning fees, which really annoys users, especially because guests are sometimes asked to also clean themselves and still pay the cleaning fee. Other users report showing up to the place and the pictures being fake or from a completely different place, while Airbnb and the host refuse to pay compensation. There are just so many stories of guests not trusting the host or the other way around. And it probably does not come as a surprise, but a company that facilitates strangers staying in other strangers' homes faces trust issues. A lot of comments I see on Twitter boils down to them feeling like Airbnb prioritizes a taste of Sabrina Carpenter over fixing the core issues of the platform. And to me, that just feels like such a massive misstep. And this comes from a company that claims to be user-focused. And for what it's worth, I believe them most of the time. But in this case, they are really trying too much to appeal to the pop culture and what other companies do. You know, it's easy for me to sit here and criticize Airbnb for losing touch with its users and focusing too much on pop culture stunts. But to be honest, Airbnb is actually doing better than most tech companies, because even though I disagree with some of their recent choices, at least I can tell they're genuinely trying. Airbnb started out being all about connection. It was literally about strangers inviting each other into their homes. The messy, unoptimized human experience was exactly what made it special. But growth demands optimization, and at some point, the very thing that made Airbnb unique became a friction point that needed smoothing out. So today, most people do not want to stay at an Airbnb where the host is also present. And this isn't just Airbnb, it's an issue across the entire tech industry. When Steve Jobs talked about design, he famously said, "Design is not just what it looks like and feels like. Design is how it works." And he didn't mean how quickly a user can check out or how frictionless your conversion funnel is. He meant, how does it actually feel to use the thing? Do you love it? Does it bring joy? Or is it just optimized? I believe the next big wave in tech might not be AI or better cameras or more optimization. It might actually be a return to what initially made technology exciting in the first place: personality, craft, imperfection, and humanity. So what would that look like for Airbnb specifically? I'm sure that the product managers at Airbnb know better than me specifically what people are asking for. But as I see it from the outside, there are two things that really stand out. First of all, you need to fix the trust issue between guests and hosts. They recently made the decision to show the cleaning fees by default in search, which is a good first step. But they need to show very clearly that they're ready to step in when something is not working as expected. Like when someone has a camera in their home, they need to set a clear example of not allowing the host on the platform. For example, one Redditor tells the story of him and his friends staying at an Airbnb. They were having a few drinks by the pool. One of his friends brought a glass near the pool, and no longer than 30 seconds later they get a call from the owner saying glasses by the pool were not allowed. While the Redditor thought that the rule was fair enough, they were put off by the realization that they were being watched constantly. The second thing I would fix is to bring back Airbnb categories. Things like tree houses, igloos, or hidden beaches. Let the user stumble upon something surprising again, rather than optimizing purely for a quick booking conversion. I know I sound a bit idealistic here, and I know why companies like Airbnb don't do this. It doesn't scale easily, it's messy, and investors hate it when something is left unoptimized. But maybe the companies that dare to reintroduce humanity into tech will be rewarded. Not only with loyal users, but something far more powerful: genuine love from their community. In the end, Airbnb isn't doomed. They just need to remember why people fell in love with them in the first place. Because if the future of technology is perfect efficiency and zero friction, that's not the future I'm very excited about. And I doubt I'm alone. If you liked the video, it means a lot to me if you want to subscribe to my channel. I recently crossed 1,200 subscribers and every one of you means a lot. And please also leave a comment and like the video. That is the only way to help me out. Thank you.